A very good morning to you. Thank you so much for staying here on the AM show. I'm Bernice Abubedulansa. Earlier, you saw my colleague Benjamin Akakpo engage on some experts having discussions on government's desire to create that stability fund. Well, it's now time for us to look at the latest inflation figures, and the year-on-year inflation fell for the fourth month running to 41.2% in April 2023 from 45% in March 2023, extending the disinflation process since January 2023. Now, according to the Ghana Statistical Service, both food inflation and non-food inflation dipped last month. Well, it's now time to speak to Foster Ajahu. He is head of price statistics at the Ghana Statistical Service. It's great to have you here. And I was just thinking to myself, Mr. Ajahu, in times past, we didn't put such priority on inflation, discussing it every month. But I mean, clearly, it appears the current economic situation has brought so much attention to our inflation figures, and everybody is almost always waiting to see what the Statistical Service will release. Now, let's start off on this note. What does this really mean? Is it safe now to say that we're on a downward trend? Does that mean that we should expect prices to reduce when we go to the market?
Thank you, and good morning to our cherished viewers. Let me say that, indeed, in the past, people were not paying so much attention to inflation figures. But of course, in the recent past that we had the hikes, people were then feeling the heat in their pockets. And therefore, everybody has become awakened to the reality that I need to monitor inflation and know what is happening. And coming to the second question, indeed, I mean, we are comfortable to say that having had 4 months of continuous downward trend, we should be saying that indeed we are in the period where we've seen reduction in the rates. But however, other factors do influence inflation rates. I mean, other policy directives, taxes, the monetary policy, and the fuel availability and their prices, and then the weather, I mean, nature itself and farmers' input. And so, if all these things work well, then of course we should be saying that indeed we are in the downward trajectory.
Interesting, and you brought up the issues of policy, because then that brings to perspective our current situation, the IMF deal, and whether we'll get it in time or not, and how all these influence the rate of inflation. But are you able to tell us because usually, especially when we are discussing the issue of inflation, we like to focus on the nitty-gritties, what exactly went into the basket and the calculation. Are you able to run us through?
Thank you. And so, yes, I mean, like Reggie said at the beginning, indeed, policy has a role. Speculation, now that we're talking about the IMF bailout, and everybody's expecting when is it going to come? Will it come? What are the conditionality? And so when that speculation fits into the people, then they begin to become uncertain, and some want to cash in and increase their prices even when there are no factors that are pushing them. The computation generally is we collect prices from across all the 16 regions of Ghana. We have 57 markets that we do collect prices every month. And so for the first week of every month, we deploy people to go and pick prices on virtually every item that we buy. And then when we do all these, we come and aggregate them, and then we are able to tell the national figure which region is pushing inflation, what factors are pushing inflation, and we advise policy aside.
And exactly on the basket, what were the various items you looked at? Because the last time we checked, even though inflation had slowed for many of the products, dairy products were still high. They stayed at the top. Are you able to run us through the components that went into this month's basket?
Okay, so we have a fixed basket. We don't vary it.
Okay.
Every month is the same number of items that we do collect on. We have things like, virtually everything: granules, oil, bread, rice, ladies' panties, non-alcoholic beverages, name it, accommodation, cement, fuel, transport, everything that makes our day-to-day life comfortable, we consider them in the basket. And indeed, we've said that, yes, there are some that for the past month or so, we've been seeing them feature so well. So for this month, for example, we saw granules, the shell granules, we saw palm oil, washing soap, coconut oil, granule paste, sunflower, and fish being the topmost items that recorded inflation that need to be looked at.
And for imported products, what was the detailed information you gathered on that? Because we understand that there is a slowing down in the prices of imported products.
So the good news we have observed, between last month and this month is that, yes, even though prices generally are going up, but we're seeing a slow in the way they are going up, especially with imported items. And so if you look at our top 20 items, we only have washing soap, sanitary pads, and women underwear, maybe tea. These are the items that are imported. That's featured so much in this month's inflation. Otherwise, almost all the items that were pushing inflation for the month of April are domestically produced items.
So this particular one, what exactly is causing the slowdown? Is it that there's a reduction in the demand of the products? What exactly is causing the reductions that we are seeing?
So if you watch carefully last month's release, indeed, we did record some items that recorded actual reduction in prices. And so the amount of month and the year-on-year were negative, which means that those prices have started coming down. Then again, there are some, even though their prices have not come down, but the rate at which they used to go up in the recent past have slowed. So maybe some months ago, 4 or 5 months ago, probably let's say a 5 kg bag of rice, if every month it was going up by let's say 10%, now it's either stagnant in terms of price, so it can go today 30 cedis. We are seeing the stability in inflation, the reduction when we compare it year on year.
Hello, Mr. Ajaho, are you there?
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Can you hear me?
Sorry, it froze a bit, so I was wondering if it was another instant of a frozen feed or you had actually ended your submission. So it's not necessarily because there is not as much demand, and so the market influencers are dipping the prices so that people can afford them, because sometimes it happens when things become too expensive and people do not want it as much as they did. The marketers would want the products to go, and so they just beat down the price. I just want to understand exactly what is influencing the reductions that we've been recording.
Right. You're absolutely right. Except to say that I think what is helping us this time around is that factors that were pushing the prices up in the past are becoming better. So, for example, we are all aware that at the latter part of last year, we saw the exchange rate not doing so well. I mean, for some time now, it has been stable. We saw fuel prices being, almost every 2 months being increased. In recent past, we are even seeing a decline in the fuel price, and that translates in transport fares and other things. So this good news, and then again, availability of the products, like maybe the farm yields, are the ones that are contributing to the stability and even the decline in the inflation rate that we are recording.
My first question to you was whether we could, based on what we've recorded so far, make a certain projection about prices reducing on the market. But then again, there's the issue of the new taxes that were introduced and concerns that could lead to an increase in the prices on the market. I don't know if that is part of your job. Are you able to make predictive or assumptive figures or expectations? Are you able, as a statistical service, to say that, okay, based on this, we could see an increase in the prices of goods, even though the factors that you mentioned, the exchange rates, the cost of fuel, and all that? Are you on edge about the taxes and whether or not we really would see a reversal in the trend? Hello, Mr. Ajaho.
Yes, so sorry.
Right.
Can you hear me now? Sorry.
Yes, I can.
Yes, we try to share a way for forecast and prediction, because otherwise, but to say that indeed it is true, when taxes are increased, if producers don't become philanthropists, then they tend to pass it on to. But we are only hoping and praying that the kind of taxes that we're going to have, maybe producers will absorb them, in the short run, so that it may not affect the immediate price.
Right. Now, like I said earlier,
that we are recording, the position can still be on the downward trajectory.
Sorry, Mr. Ajaho, we lost a chunk of what you just said. Can you repeat yourself, please?
Okay, so I was just trying to explain that indeed taxes do affect prices. And we know that producers are not philanthropists.
Right.
So when they are hit with taxes, the tendency is that they will push it on to the consumer. And so if they do that, then chances are that prices may go up, and when prices are going up, inflation is going up. We are only hoping and praying that probably this time around, in the short run, producers may absorb the taxes temporarily, so we can continue having a breathing space for inflation to go down before probably we roll it over to us, the consumers.
Beyond the general populace, knowing about inflation and understanding what it is, what are some of the, why is it even important for you to do it every month?
So, my dear, you realize that, as you and I are doing it, it guides us first, the consumers, to know how things are going and we plan accordingly. But importantly, for the state, for the government, for the central bank, inflation plays a key role in the decision on the monetary policy rate. Right. It also helps the commercial bank in fixing interest rates. We know even our bailout, the current bailout discussion with IMF, inflation is playing a key role. And so government takes clear interest in inflation and makes sure he's able to bring it under control. And that's how come every month we are obliged to produce it both for the populace, the government, the central bank, and our external partners.
I appreciate your time here this morning. Foster Ajaho is head of price statistics at Ghana Statistical Service, and we've been talking about the latest figures, which suggest a downward trend. And I know that many of you are excited about it. The fact that this may reflect in the prices of goods on the market. So we've got our fingers crossed. Hopefully, the other factors that Mr. Ajaho referred to, government policy, taxes, and etc., will not reverse this trend. Well, we'll take a quick breather, just go and sip on some water. When I come back, I'll be talking to you about 4 years of zipline operations in Ghana. We'll be assessing their impact and interventions in the country. Do stay.